Hi folks, it's Andy, and this is Kendo Rant. First questions, do you have any training recommendations for nationals? The AUSKF 2020 is coming up and training is starting to begin on a federation level. Anything I can do in between, maybe change my diet might help. Any insight would be great. Look, I can't tell you anything about how to change diet. I don't keep a brilliant diet myself, if I'm honest with you. It's not something I'm qualified in, and I don't know what the best thing to do. Maybe speak to a professional about that. But in terms of in between your training sessions, what you could do a bit of Subudi at home. I've got some videos how to do Subudi at home. But the thing you could do the best, if I'm honest with you, is Mitori Geiko. Yeah, watch as much Kendo as you can out there on YouTube. It's free. So yeah, do that. I'm doing my best to kind of help you with Mitori Geiko with my analysis videos, for example. But definitely, yeah, do Mitori Geiko. I definitely think that will help. Next one. Hi, Andy. Do you have any tips for finding a dojo in Japan? Me and my wife are going to live and work there, and we'd like to keep training Kendo. I know Kendo is pretty popular in Japan, but how do you search for a dojo? Do they usually have a website or anything like that? We're going to a small city and I'd like to know how hard it is to find a new gaijin friendly, a new dojo that's gaijin friendly, even though both of us speak Japanese. Do I have to talk to my country's federation too? Thanks in advance. Keep up the good work. Probably the easiest thing for you to do, to be honest, right, first off, no, it's unlikely they'll have a website. It's unlikely they'll have a website. They're pretty behind on that sort of thing, generally, the sort of Kendo community in Japan. So, yeah, it's unlikely you'll find much on the internet. You might, though. You never know. It depends where you go. But do you know what I do is, wherever you live, find where the nearest Kendo shop is, the nearest Bogu shop. Go there and ask them, because they'll know. They'll definitely know, and they'll probably be able to put you in the right direction or put you in touch with somebody. And yeah, it might be worth talking to your country's federation as well. Just check with them that what you need to do with regards to your sort of insurance that's with them. If you need to, I'd probably just mention it to them and see if they have got any advice for you as well. So yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that's the best way to do it. If you speak Japanese, you won't have any trouble at all. You absolutely won't have any trouble at all, I'm sure. Next one. What's your favorite and least favorite waza to practice? My favorite waza to practice is men. I like practicing men. And I do it as much as I can. If you like, even if it's just a basic men strike. I don't. Obviously there's other waza and stuff that's kind of fun to practice. But I like doing hikiwaza as well, and I like practicing all the waza actually. I don't have one that's particularly least favorite to practice. I guess my favorite's men, and my least favorite is men, because I'm not very good at it. So you still have to. I think when you're practicing men strike, it's just the basic men strike. You're doing the kihonichi. You have to. I like doing it because I want to improve at it, but you also have to. You have to be super kind of critical of yourself as you're going along as well. So it kind of feels a little bit frustrating sometimes when you can't do it exactly the way you want to. So yeah, I'd say that. What advice do you have for someone who's severely self-critical about his Kendo? It's not necessarily a bad thing to be very critical of your Kendo. In fact, it's very, very important. But what you need to remember is you won't improve if you only remember what's bad about your Kendo. You need to make sure you are self-aware in your Kendo, and that's something that lots of people don't do, is actually have any self-awareness, and that's very important. So being self-critical is sort of obviously an element of that, so that's a good sign if I'm honest. But at the same time, if you're only looking at what's bad, only considering what's bad, and only sort of beating yourself up about it, you won't really get any better. Because what's important is when you're appraising yourself, you need to not only identify the problems that you need to fix. You certainly do need to do that. But you also need to identify the positive things, the things you did well, and the things that you need to repeat. So yeah, what you need to do is you need to try when you're after each practice, try to evaluate the practice you've had. If you can, video it. Videoing it's a great thing to do. Look back on it, be as critical as you want, and then try to find at least one possibly 2 or 3 things that you did that you were happy with and you would like to continue doing or do again next time. And that will hopefully help balance that out a bit, if that makes sense. Next one. Some senseis place their shinai tip on the student's mune when the student attacks to show that the student has not taken the center line. Whilst this is an effective teaching technique, should a kenshi utilize this munetsuki on a fellow kenshi of roughly equal skill and experience level in Jigeko? All right, first thing, it's not munetsuki. Munetsuki is when you actually poke at the mune. What you're just doing really is holding the kamae, isn't it? It's not really tsuki, yeah? It's not munetsuki, and it's not, sometimes people call it mukai tsuki as well. It's not mukai tsuki either. Mukai tsuki is when they're coming forward and you do tsuki. Tsuki is thrusting. And that's actually, kinshi. It's against the rules. It's what you're talking about is just holding the center, and then they sort of end up on the tip of your sword. Frankly, it depends on your level. If you're like Ikkyu or something, probably not. Probably best not to. Probably best to focus on attacking. Maybe even, I'd say, sort of, maybe from second or third dan upwards, it can be something you can do. As you know, you're starting now to apply. Certainly from third dan upwards, I think it's okay. You have to think about the opportunity to strike, so you don't want to just attack randomly anyway. So, you know, there are times when they're going to attack, and you're you're still figuring out your seme, as it were, and you weren't particularly ready to maybe do the orjuat or something. So I think it's perfectly acceptable at that sort of level with people who are your peers. Don't do it against people that are senior than you, though, because that's, like you say, it's more of a, I mean, you can do, it depends on the situation, actually. So forget I said that. But like, you know, if you got like a visiting Hachidan or something and you keep doing that over and over again, like they might get a little bit annoyed. Because it's like you're not trying to engage properly with sensei, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's going down a whole different rabbit hole that I don't want to get into. So yeah, the short answer to your question is, yeah, you can do it if you want. Probably around third dan upwards. Next, if Kendo were a role-playing game, how would the character sheet look like? What would be the attributes and skills? Okay, so right, I don't know, because actually I've never like done the role-playing game thing. Like, to me, I always thought, like, it was reasonably recently that I learned that a role-playing game doesn't mean like Skyrim. It means like Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I've never really done that. Like, and it's not that like I'm not a geek or anything, because I am, but I'm not that kind of geek. It's like a slightly different type of geek that I am. But I don't know. So yeah, maybe I don't know, movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill, initiative, wounds, save, that sort of thing. There's a clue into the kind of geek I am. Right, moving on. Hello, I'm concerned personally about training after an injury and also training for people who return to Kendo after many years of inactivity. I'm actually experiencing both. I used to practice Kendo some years ago, and although I did it for long years, I feel my body isn't getting stronger. Maybe this is because my sensei told me to put on the Borgu on my second class, but my body didn't have the time to adjust, and now I'm recovering from a torn ligament in my left wrist, which according to the doctors is due to over-exercise, and that I should do some strengthening workout when I'm fully recovered. So after giving this little background on myself, my questions are, for people returning to Kendo, should you recommend practicing basics without the bug for a while, just like newcomers? And after an injury, related to Kendo or not, should you also recommend practicing without Borgu? And in both scenarios, for how long? I hope I made myself clear enough. Yeah, you did, very much so. So, okay, so the questions essentially is, if you're returning to Kendo after a long break, should you practice the basics without Borgu before jumping back into Borgu? Probably that's a good idea. Obviously, it depends how long the break was and how much experience you had beforehand, right? If you were like, you know, 5th dan, 6th dan or something, and then you had like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years off, and then you came back, then you probably would still be all right to go into Boga quite quickly, you know. Or even like it happens a lot with Japanese people. They, you know, they do Kendo all the way up to high school. So that's like what, like 10 or 12 years. Maybe get to like third dan or something, and then they stop, and then they don't start again until they maybe even in the 30s, like 10 or 15, 20 years later even. And often they just throw the Boga back on and jump back in and expect their body to do what they were able to do when they were like 15, and before long they've got a torn Achilles. But that happens quite a lot actually. So yeah, I'd say it's probably best, like if you're coming back to Kendo off a long break, I don't think there's any rush you would need to make to get into the Boga again. You're probably better off just sticking with the basics for a bit until you feel comfortable wearing it again, until you're back into the swing of it, pun intended, really, in terms of the actual technique. But obviously, you know, speak with your teacher. If you feel like it's too soon for you, your teacher saying, "Oh no, come on, put it on," and you're like, "Well, I feel it's a little too soon." I'm sure they'd probably listen to you. I think it's okay for you to say, "Oh, actually, Sensei, I feel a little bit. I'm not quite ready for it yet. Do you mind if I keep on sort of not wearing it?" I'm sure they'd be totally fine with that. And look, if you're injured, it really depends. It depends on what kind of injury. Yes, you can definitely still practice when you've got an injury for the most part, but it depends on what kind of injury as to what type of practice you can do. If you injure your wrist, there's no point doing a load of saburi because you might make it worse. You probably will make it worse, actually. But you could practice ashisabaki, couldn't you? Well, if you injure your legs, then you're not going to have a good chance to practice ashisabaki. You know, I've had in the last few years a couple of quite serious injuries to my calves. And I tore one side a few years ago, and then more recently I tore the other side. And I was literally unable to walk for a while. But I was still able to practice saburi, which I did do. Sort of sat down, sort of this way, and I was able to practice Mitori Geiko, which is the most important one. Okay, so that's where I sort of think. And I can't answer for how long because it depends on you. I can't say how long it would take you to get back into the feeling of ready to wear the Boga again, or how long you would need to recuperate after an injury. I can't say that. You have to judge that yourself with you and your sensei. Next one. Hello, Andy. I just received my awesome KendoStar Boga. Why does deerskin smell like bacon? So delicious. Don't eat it, right? Don't eat it. The Boga smells like that. It's the kote, right? The deerskin kote smell like that because they're smoked, right? So part of the way in which they treat deerskin leather, they either bleach it, which is white. If you look at like the Kaisei or the Preto Bug set, they've got bright white kote palms, which stain quite easily, but they feel very, very soft and very comfortable, and they look quite nice on the new. They're bleached white, or they smoke them, all right? And that's when it's like that brown, orangey brown color, and that's where the smell comes from, all right? It's just a sort of treatment that they do to kind of give it a little bit of durability. And it's not really that the smoke one's more durable than the bleach one. They're about equal in my experience, actually. But it's just something that they do. So, yeah, it's because it's been smoked. Yeah, like bacon. Next one. How do you tell a higher ranking kendoka that they are rude and arrogant? I have a senpai who will literally just turn and walk off halfway through keiko and give evil stares. Ooh. I'm quite an upfront guy, and respect higher rank or not. If someone is being blatantly rude, they should be told rank be damned. This is the state team's coach too. I don't feel like higher downgrade than mine means you get to be rude. Okay, so I qualified this a little bit in the Kendo Show Early Access group where this question was posted. If you're not in the group, there's a link in the description. Get in the group. It's the best place to post questions, by the way. And yeah, I was asking if, you meant when he walks away, does it mean he walks away and just finishes keiko with you? And you said, yes, he does. Which is very, very odd. It's very odd indeed. I'm not sure why someone would behave like that. Obviously, it's difficult for me to say without seeing it. But look, your question is how do you tell them? I don't know why you need to tell them, if I'm honest with you. I don't know why you need to tell them. I just let them carry on, being like that. it's hard to tell why they're doing that. It could be maybe they're trying to communicate something to you. I don't know. Maybe they are just being a bit unpleasant. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect you so much. You know, all it does is offend you, maybe. But you don't need to kick off with them about it. I don't think. I think the best thing to do is just let them go away and then go and practice with somebody else. I don't see the need to put them in their place, as it were. I don't think there's anything you'll gain from that. And I think all you'll get in return is some sort of argument, and I don't think it will end in a positive way. It's probably better just to let them carry on being like that, and probably lots of other people will feel like that about them as well. And then nobody will want to practice with them, and then that'll be unpleasant for them, and they'll get their sort of comeuppance that way, I guess. But I don't think the best way is to start kicking off with them and saying why are you being such a jerk about it or something like that. I'd just be like, don't know what that guy's problem is. Fair enough, and move on. So yeah, that's how I'd probably deal with that, if I'm honest. Next one. What is your typical Suburi training regimen? What type of exercise, number of reps, rest time, the whole deal. So I usually do like about 2,000 or 3,000 a day, starting from about 4:30 in the morning before I come to work. That's not true. I don't have a Suburi training regimen, to be honest. I don't do masses of Suburi, to be honest, these days. I used to do, when I was like a competitor and stuff, I used to do maybe like about 100 a day or something like that. Not massive as amount, you know. I used to do that sort of thing. And I used to do it in the dojo. I didn't do it at home because I used to go to the dojo pretty much every day. But I was living in Japan, of course, and I had very good access to the dojo. But yeah, I don't really do it that much. But that's because I train quite a lot and I'm very busy with my work. If I was to do it more, like on a regular basis, I have my Suburito and my stuff here at my office, and the way, it's not like I never do it. I'm defending myself now, by the way, but the way it's not like I never ever do it. I have my stuff here. I pick it up and I do it every now and again when I've got a spare 5 minutes. I don't really count them, and I don't really have a specific regime in that way, because I'm not, I'm not really. I'm not really doing that. I'm more, actually, I tend to spend more time doing Mitori Geiko than Suburi at home, which I think more people will benefit from, actually. I think so. Right, last one. Any reasons why Korean Kendo uses blue flags and tassels instead of red? No idea. Don't know. Probably somewhat cultural, right? And probably something to do with the fact that, Kendo has been kind of left to become its own thing in Japan since they stopped occupying the place. So, yeah, don't know, though. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to do the like, share, subscribe, all that sort of thing. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you want to be really mean. And you can join the Kendo Show Early Access group. There's a link in the description down below. That's a great place to post your questions because there's Kendoka from all over the world in there of all different levels, and they'll chip in as well. So it's a great place for discussion, not just a place to post your questions. And yeah, don't forget, if you like what I do, you can support us by shopping at KendoStar. KendoStar.com. Obviously, that's my website. Really, really brilliant Kendo equipment. I think it's the best in the world. We're the best rated anyway. Our customers obviously agree. And obviously, it supports what we do. Yeah. So it supports Kendo Rant. It supports Kendo Gamer, which was yesterday. If you haven't seen that, that was a really great show. And also, we're doing another analysis video tomorrow. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time.